Hi everybody, this is Gabriel Smiley, one half of the Smileys in Zambia. And today I am here by myself. Elaine is not joining us, and I'm going to spend some time talking about the school system in Lusaka, the international school I work at, and some of the differences that I've noticed. So this one might be of interest to all the parents out there of older students that are thinking about moving, and definitely for the school counselors, just to learn a little bit about how things differ when you move to a new location. So the school I work at, Lusaka International Community School, is an A-level school, and that really changes everything. It's a British curriculum school, so the curriculum style is totally different, and the students' and parents' attitude towards school is really different. I'm going to break it down a little bit today. So in an A-level school, the oldest students, the A-level students, take 3 or 4 courses total. So instead of a course load of 8 or 10 courses, maybe 6 for some seniors that have finished their requirements, most of my oldest students have 3 courses total. So that means as they get older, when they're 16 or 17, they have to start specializing. Students have to choose a direction much earlier here in Zambia and probably in the UK, although I've never worked there. Much earlier, they have to decide what they're interested in and start specializing, which to me is a big shocker. It's kind of hard to ask a kid to do that because in America, you're told that if you know what you want to do, great. But if not, that's fine. You have plenty of time to figure things out. You don't have to declare a major until the end of your second year in college. And that doesn't apply here. You have to start thinking about your major when you're 15, 16. So that's a really, really big difference, which means I'm doing a lot of counseling of younger students, pushing them to think about what they love, pushing them to think about what courses have been really easy for them, which ones have been really challenging, which is exciting, but is very different. Another factor when students have to specialize early, if they're taking 3 courses in their last year, it means they have tons and tons of free time. Our students are expected to follow the normal schedule, to be there from 7:30 to about 2:30, but they're only taking 3 hours worth of coursework during that time, so they have a lot of free time. And in America, if you see seniors with a lot of free time, they're hanging out. They're not doing that much. They're kind of taking it easy. In this place, in Lusaka, in my school, the students are very, very disciplined with their free time. So it's really uncommon that you would see a student during their free period not in the study room, not trying to take some notes or go over their books and trying to get ahead and prepare for their big tests. So that's the other big, big difference. In an A-level school, there is no transcript, right? Your in-class performance from day to day does not matter at all. The only thing that tells others about your ability is your test that you took at the end of the year. So in an A-level school, students' performance and their ability is all presented in their A-level exams, which happen at the end of the 2 years. They also take a middle of the program, an AS, but basically the scores that they get at the exam at the end of 2 years determines how strong of an application they have for university. It determines how happy their parents are with their performance and the school's performance. So everything rides on this A-level exam that's like a really, really intense 2-day exam that happens in June at the end of their second year, and then they get the results. So students do everything to prepare for that exam, which is kind of shocking for an American who's used to students being graded per quarter on their in-class performance, on their homeworks, on their quizzes and tests, all these little things that add up to make a grade point average. Our students know, and Lusaka don't know what a grade point average is. They ask me about it all the time. So that's a really, really big difference in going to school here. Students need to be a little more disciplined. There's not a lot of second chances. So if you're not a great test taker, there's not another avenue to perform and show that you do have a great ability. There are mock tests throughout the year, which serve as feedback to parents about what the student, how the student is doing, but ultimately they don't count for much. They don't get sent anywhere. So that's a huge, huge difference in coming to a school like LICS versus an American-style school. Another difference is there's not tons of stuff to do outside of the school in Lusaka. So you don't see these kids that are on the debate team in school, but also in a robotics club over here and doing track and field for this club. Most of the things that students do take place on campus, whether that's sports or arts, or some of these different competitions that they have. But there's not like, we don't have students with huge resumes of things that they've done. Most of them have done some volunteering because there's plenty of opportunities to volunteer, which is really wonderful. But there's not like this mad dash to pad your resume that there is in the US. Students typically will play a sport or two. Some of them will play an instrument. Most of them will volunteer. And then a handful of them will work with their family business, which is pretty common. So that's a major difference. And then the last major difference, which I love, is that parents here are really hands-off. You know, as the college counselor in the US, you get a lot of calls, you have a lot of meetings, you have a lot of concerned parents, and everybody wants their kid to go to a really selective, really competitive school, or everybody aspires to go to a school that's highly ranked and hard to get into, which is just not realistic for everybody, not because of the student's ability, just because there's not that much space at those schools. Here, parents are a little more realistic. They know their students' scores, they know the type of student they are, and there's not like this aspirational push from the parents to have kids move up a level into a more selective school than they're probably qualified for. So that's really awesome. It means there's less pressure on the counselor. I haven't had any parents really meet with me and strongly suggest they want their kid to go to Yale or MIT or anything like that. Parents are a little more realistic, and students are a little more realistic. They kind of have a little more fatalistic approach where they've got their mid-year, they got their AS scores, which are like after the first year, and if they have 3 Bs, they're not aspiring to go to Oxford. There's not this thing in the back of their head or in the society that says, no matter where you are, you can go to Harvard, you can go to this top level school if you just work hard. Students say, okay, I've got 3 Bs, let me find opportunities in the world for a student with 3 Bs, and they accept it and they go out and find those opportunities. So it's really different. There's not this rat race to get into the most selective schools. Nobody's sabotaging each other. Nobody's cheating, and there's no SAT cheats or fake water polo players or anything like that. So it's a really different counseling environment, and I am starting to enjoy it. So that's a little bit about secondary school at my school, LICS, which is that's a little bit about secondary school. At my school, LICS is a British patterned A-level school, and it's been a great adjustment thus far.